Everyone. Thank you for joining me at Inner Life 101. Welcome to another video. This video is going to be short. It's basically about Eligio getting his birth certificate today and finding out that he was all wrong about his his chart. He was wrong. So let's see that.
Oh man, yo, y'all not even gonna believe this shit. Oh man, I'm out here. I just got my vitals, cause I gotta handle some business. I got a copy of my birth certificate, right? Out here in New York, and I was born at 10:34 a.m. I thought I was born at 8:30 p.m. Damn, shit just changed like a motherfucker, yo. I was born at right there, Metropolitan Hospital. Metropolitan Hospital. I logged in at 10:34 a.m. Wow. That's gonna change some shit. Yeah. I always felt that it wasn't 100% right about me, Mike.
Okay, he thinks it's funny, but he's he wants to make it he always makes an excuse for everything, you know? And when you make an excuse for everything, you're just lying. You're just lying. You're finding a way to lie to cover up the fact that you didn't know something. And that's number one with a teacher. You have to face the fact when you don't know something, and you have to be willing to say, hey, I don't know. Anyways, let's see.
I want to see what this about. I always felt like it wasn't, you know what I mean? I want to see what this about. Like it was accurate, but it wasn't, you know what I mean? Law. Go ahead, pull up. Go ahead, do it right now. Probably a Cancer Moon on the low. I'm a Cancer Moon. Probably a Cancer Moon on the low. Let's do it. Let's do it. Rising done changed. Oh yeah, you ain't stuff for the rising. Yeah, I ain't never really felt like that. Let's see. Yeah, man. That's crazy. You see it. Place of birth, Harlem. April 29th. Now, let me get that time that you actually born. 10:34 a.m. Actual time you actually born. Hell nah. That's crazy. Then guess what? I can't even get my original father's birth certificate because.
And see, the crazy thing about it is that what he don't understand is that just like he messed up, he didn't know the time of his birth. Most people don't. Parents forget that kind of stuff. So all of those people, the majority probably, most likely, with the laws of probability, tells me that the majority, because if he can go and find his birth certificate and find out his time is wrong, I guarantee you most of the people in carbonation that has been through carbonation and has been relying on these charts don't know the time that they were born. Okay, I'm looking over there watching. I see what's her name, Immortal Faith, who is Serenity, Stephanie, aka Serenity. She's making a whole teaching on it. She's doing her. She probably don't even know when she was born either. Okay, the thing about it, if you guys have watched my other videos, you might have heard me speak about the astrological chart that they're doing. And there has been astrologers come on to his lives and tell him that he's doing it wrong, that you can't rely on the charts. The charts can't be relied on because of you have to do the charting by the actual stars, and things change. They change a lot, and so you have to know about how to chart it on by the stars outside and looking in the sky. And Eligio, he says, no, you really don't. You really don't have to. No, because he doesn't do it, see. So he'd tell them, oh, nah, that's wrong. What you're saying is wrong. That's not true. Okay, so my thing is that the reason I'm making this video is because I have always looked at these charts, and I've seen them, and I see them relying on it, claiming that they're going to change their debilitations. And I want you guys to tell me what you think about this. Now, I'm a teacher of what they call the Know Thyself teaching. It's an ancient wisdom teaching, and the teaching is the teaching where you get to know yourself. You have to study yourself in order to become a master teacher or whatever. We don't make those kind of names out, but what in reality in the United States or across the world, what you will become actually is a spiritual spiritual psychologist. And that is something big here in America. That label is big here in America because of the laws. You can't practice medicine without a license. So you have to, in order to get around it, you create the label of spiritual psychologist, and then you can become a doctor. But you cannot be like a doctor of PhD. So, that's it's a big thing. So, anyways, so you have to study yourself. Now, that is a the reason I got into this with Nature Boy thing is that Nature Boy was using that teaching, and I saw him not rightly dividing that teaching. Okay, so it's frustrating to see him take the teaching that I spent many, many years with living according to, and he's just throwing it out there like it means nothing, you know, and he's hurting people, and it bothers me. So, anyways, so I came on, and I pretty much in the other videos I debunk his teachings, so that you can get the truth of what the teaching actually teaches. So, anyways, about this chart. And he was saying how these charts, you can study your debilitations, and then you can be free of the debilitations and your so-called what do you call it, generational curses. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, generational curses, there's no such thing as that. People say that, but because of the cycles that we have, I forgot the word that they used to use, but it was a cycle that generation had passed down. These behaviors passed down generationally, and that's basically because people are thinking the same thought. They're thinking the same thoughts. They're passing down that thinking down to their children, and their children and their children. For example, the welfare thing. So when welfare first came out, many mothers had to get on, and they removed the fathers from the household, and then their children learned to watch. They watched mother get take care of her family with the welfare. Then the next generation watch it, and often the mother will tell the child or tell the other adult, hey, don't be ashamed. Go out there and get the welfare. You got to take care of the kids. You got to, you tried to work and you couldn't do it. You couldn't make enough money, or now you're sick and you have to get on welfare. So, anyways, um, so those are generational curses, and it is not a curse. When you say generational curse, that means that's something you cannot get over. How can you uh, use any teaching to get over a curse unless you have some kind of teaching in the black sciences, and they would teach you, or the black, what do you call it, the black spirituality, black magic, okay? And they would, you can have be able to break spells. So, anyways, or use spells to break curses. So now he wants to deal with the debilitations in the chart. That's what he called debilitations. So now he's just found out that he's been talking about all this time his debilitations in this chart that now he don't have. But the thing is that when he been teaching it all these years, he believed that these were him. He said, I mean, this was what he believed. And he believed he was working on his, well, I can't say that because Eligio does not do the same work on himself that everybody else is doing. Okay. Uh, you can look at his behavior. He's supposed to be a spiritual community, and he's brought all of his negativities to the spiritual community. So he does his stripping, he does the sexual deviancy, the violence, the domination, and wanting to, dominate the world, and his all everything that he did then, he's brought it to the spirituality, to his spiritual community. So, anyways, and then he says he's transformed, and it's not true, because when you transform, you'll know it, okay? And just looking at pictures from the past until now is not transformation. So, the thing about it is that what I see about these charts, and y'all tell me, I might touch on some toes, I know, but I'm gonna tell you, this is the real deal. I grew up in an era where they had these charts out here. They had the horoscopes. Everybody lived by them. Everybody had to have their signs. They walked around, everybody want to know what your sign is. Of course, they don't want to, they only want to date the people that they're compatible with, that they read in the book. The horoscopes and all that tells you who you're compatible with. So they want to only mate with those people, or get together with those people. And it faded away for a while. It faded away because we realized that it was not always true to who you are. Okay, you always, every now and then, you will get something that was true about you, but then you'll find stuff that wasn't true about you too, so you just accept it. These new charts are more scientific. I mean, these people who create these charts has it down to a science. And what you have to realize is that most people, let's put it like this. Okay, Eligio was wrong because he didn't know his time. Okay. Now, and it threw everything off. Now, in these charts, the way they structure these charts and the way they seem so accurate is because they take all of the different traits, personality traits that the general population has, that most people have, and they throw it in a chart. And everybody's going to have some of that, that trait show up in their chart. and they mix them up and match, and usually if it's something that is positive about you, you would say, oh, okay, good, thank you. But then when you read something that is negative about you, you're like, oh, okay, I better watch that, or, whatever. But the thing is that everybody, they basically use every personality trait. It's just like um, the mental health profession. The mental health profession has this thing where they say that everybody has some kind of what they call them. I say mental challenge. So when they go and they diagnose someone, they usually just take the major thing that you're suffering from at that time. Okay. So if you're angry, if you're having thoughts of hurting people, or, all these other things, and they've seen it a lot, so they have put it in a book, and so they point it out and they say, well, this is what you're suffering from. You're manic depressive, or you're a psychopath or a sociopath or something. So, this is how they they diagnose people, because it's like everybody goes through these different emotions, these different thoughts, especially coming up in the United States. You usually will think the same way as your uh, fellow Americans. As simple as that. So the same thing is with the chart. But the problem is that Eligio is using the chart, claiming to help heal people, and we haven't seen anyone that he's really healed mentally and emotionally. Yeah, you can feel relief from knowing something about yourself, but the real deal is when you truly know who you are, know yourself. Okay, you truly get to know why you feel the way you feel, why you think the way you think, and why. And on the teaching that he's one of the other teaching, which is a know thyself teaching. In that teaching, it teaches you to rise above those things, the problems that you have in your life. So if you had what he called a generational curse, which is, like I said before, is just a recycling of thought from parent to child and on and on. Um, if you have this something like that, then the know thyself teaching can actually help you overcome those things, so you won't continue the cycle. Okay. Now, he's supposed to be helping people do that, but I've watched many of his so-called real nigga moments, and he does things, number one, in the teaching itself, that um, someone who has studied this teaching, and come to the level of a spiritual psychologist would never do, because it's cruel and it's mean to go and put out somebody else's personal information, to take that information, get to know about them, and then throw that information in their face, when they're down, when they're hurting, or for your own personal use. That is something that even a medical psychologist, or the people in the medical field, they sign documents and have you sign documents for uh, confidentiality. They cannot give out most of the information that you talk to them about. They cannot, because it messes up the trust. You cannot go and talk about other people's business like that the way he does. So I've seen his real nigga moments, as he put it, and it's really mostly about him talking about them. But how many of you actually see any real nigga moments with him? I think I've even DM'd him and asked him before about, you doing all of these moments with people who helps you develop, who does these moments with you so that you can see yourself clearly. Okay. And I got no answer with that. I think he said he was the chief or something like that. So he's not, it's nowhere in the world you divine. We know you're not a divine being because, I mean, sure, innerly we all are, but you're not a divine. Your behavior is covering up that divinity. And that's the anger and the hatred and the meanness and the violence and the all of those things that you have to overcome to actually become like who you call Jesus, or become like Father Tahulia, people who have worked on their lives and changed their lives. If they were human beings, they had to do work to change that. And Eligio, you're not doing that. He's not doing that, guys. He's just not doing it. So, let me see. Did we get to the point of him? I think we did. So that's why no one in this camp is getting healed. And just think about that. All this time, he's telling people about himself and everything. And now, and on top of it, I'm sure you guys have heard him say that he has these debilitations and that, and he knows these things about himself. But if the chart was true, then why didn't you know that that wasn't you? How is it that you can have a chart and for years you're following this chart and saying, yes, yes, you're right? I've heard them, sit up, yeah, that's me. That's true. That's true. That's all about me. And then now we find out today it wasn't even him. It wasn't his chart. And a lot of them are like that. So the moral of the story is the know thyself teaching is the only thing that's going to help you heal any kind of debilitations that you have. Like I have said before, generational curses, there's no such thing as that. It's just regenerating those thoughts generationally, and that's it. It is not a curse. Means that someone put a hex on you, as they call it, and if it's generationally, how do you change that? How do you remove that? You have to remove a hex. You have to remove a hex with, or a curse with, a spell. You have to be able to go into the dark uh, magic and remove the spell in order to overcome a curse. A curse you can't just overcome, but you can't tell Eligio these kind of things because he think he knows it all. And that's only because he wants you to think he knows it all. He knows he doesn't know it all, but he'll never let you know that. So anyways, guys, tell me what you think about this. The astrological chart that Eligio relies on has proven to be something that can fit anyone. I mean, I can come in and say, I can believe that, and people have done this. Their parents have told them that they were born on a certain day and time or whatever, and you go and get your chart and everything, and come find out your parent was wrong, or you find out that say you were adopted or something, and then you later found out that you had a whole total different birthday. So these things could be happening and can happen in carbonation. And I know there is no way these people in a carbonation has all of them know the exact time of their birth, but they know their chart, and they just rely on that chart to the point like Eligio did, religiously. And the problem with these charts is that, in the way he's using it anyway, is that they do not heal your life. They are not a substitute for healing. The only way you're going to get healing is to dive deep inside of yourself and figure out and let the universe help bring up those past thoughts, those past feelings, those past beliefs, and look at them and work on them until until you raise above them, until you understand them out of existence. And that's the only way that you will be free of any so-called generational curses and any so-called debilitations that shows up in any charts. You you know you really can't work on them with the charts because, like I say, the charts are basic. You have to know yourself truly. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna let you go now. Thank you for joining. Like I say, let me know in the comments what you think about this chart thing changing on Eligio, and now he's sitting back holding his head like he's stunned. He's shocked by this. It's a big change for him. Anyways, thank you for coming. Do me a favor, like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and blessings.